So we are now live. Hello.
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 Hello, world. Or something like that, anyway.
So to those of you watching or watching again when you watch back afterwards, this
Someone down
this
there.
other face here is Laura.
She's down there on my screen. I don't know where she is on the
she,
actual view.
she's there to me.
She's there.
So be nice.
We're always nice.
Yeah, sorry about the audio. I'm just loading up the live stream. There we go.
Oh, you're just hearing myself back again singing.
Yeah, that's fine.
See, I've got that theme tune in my head today. And okay, here's a little question for you.
Go on then.
Okay, what have George Bizzle, Mick Fleetwood, and Brian Tyler got in common?
I literally know who none of those people are.
You should know at least two of them, Tom. I'm quite upset you don't know two of them.
I'm focusing on multiple things at once, so go on.
Any ideas, Laura?
No idea.
George, what relation have they got to Formula One?
What were the names again?
George Bizzle, Mick Fleetwood, and Brian Tyler.
No idea. I still don't know who any of them are.
Oh, I don't know.
So they're all the music related to Formula One. So George Bizzle wrote Carmen, and you know that bit of music they always play during the dun 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 dun, that bit. That is actually from Carmen. And Mick Fleetwood wrote The Chains.
Oh, of course, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, of course, I knew that.
Fleetwood Mac, and Brian Tyler wrote that annoying theme tune that gets stuck in my head every time. The actual theme tune.
That's quite a good fact, actually. I quite like it.
That one. Actually, there's do you know what happened? I don't know why. For some reason I was looking up. Basically I was listening to Scala Radio, which is a classical music radio station over here, Laura, and they had this bit of music on, which was the Carmen. I was like, what's that from? Like, I recognise that, and then I worked out it's Formula One, and then I got, you know, when you go down like a world of random YouTube things, and then I found a live version of Brian Tyler's opening music. It goes on for like 4 minutes, but it's absolutely phenomenal. It's like, it's really geeky and really sad, but that's sort of what this is what happens when you're meant to be doing work and you're listening to the radio and you get distracted really quickly.
And that's why the theme tunes go around your head all the time, because you're listening to like a 10-minute version of it.
Yes. Dun, 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 dun.
Please never sing ever again, Carl.
But Brian Tyler also wrote the music to Age of Ultron.
Ooh. He does a lot of soundtracks, doesn't he? And stuff.
Yeah,
like
it's an amazing sound. I didn't quite realise as to what he was related to. But the Fleetwood Mac song's really weird because that bit of music in the middle with that dum, 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 is just randomly in the middle of the song and makes
the song makes
absolutely no sense. It's just like, where does this come from? And then the Carmen, I didn't even know. It's some waltz in Carmen. I was like, why have they got that? It's like it's a waltz or something from Carmen. I'm like, how have they decided that should be the music? I
like that it's probably more famous for that now, champagne spraying.
Yeah, it's like when you have
Carmen's quite a famous opera.
Oh, that's true. That's true. All right, fine. I might be a bit biased.
But it's like with what is it? You'll Never Walk Alone in Carousel as well. Everyone always associates that
it's Liverpool
football, but it's not just Liverpool, it's other people as well. But it's from Carousel. So there we go. There's our musical quote. We like to get a musical quote into every episode, so there we are.
Yeah, we're not even. Weirdly, we've done quite a lot of our bullshit banter before we've even started.
Yeah, well, this is because we're killing time, waiting to.
I know. See, I actually prepped. You can't see.
You can't see that. No.
There, if I move it fast enough, it won't work. There, I actually prepped something, thinking, you know what, I've got to actually fill these bits because Tom doesn't talk to anyone.
Well, no,
in this time, and I end up talking to myself, and it's just like, I can't be dealing with that again. I'll actually think of something to put in.
It's almost like you've prepared for this podcast and you haven't just rocked up. Crazy.
No, I have just rocked up. Yeah. It was more a coincidence that I happened to listen to that piece of music, and then I thought, actually, I need to fill in some cap. So there. You can't see that. It's quite funny because it's green. Anyway, this is really rubbish. This backdrop. I keep vanishing. Laura was laughing at me when I was trying to do it, like supposing my head vanished into the monkey behind. And last week, and then Laura, my wife, Laura, was absolutely ripping the piss out of me for trying to make myself hide. And she said, like, I look like the guy from Men in Black. You know, the guy with the really tiny head.
You've got quite a small head anyway, to be fair.
I do have a small head. Weirdly, I have big hands and a small head. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
I'm not even going to go down that route. What that might imply.
Right.
I mean, each to their own. Big gloves and small hats. That's exactly what I need. You can never go for those. You know those like combo sets of gloves and hats. It doesn't work for me. Either the hat like is so big and loose on me, or the gloves are too small.
You've got quite a small head anyway. So don't worry about that. It's fine. To be fair.
All right. So the only bit you come back with again is I've got a small head. Thanks.
Yeah.
Tom. That's the bit that I heard again.
Yeah, I closed down the live stream link by mistake, so I was just reloading it, but I had to mute it again. Right, we are good to go. Should we talk about some motorsport, as we are a motorsport podcast?
Yeah, let's do that. Well, we'll probably have to do more bullshit banter as well.
Let's both press record this week, like we did last
yes.
week.
Hello, we've pressed record. There, actually recording.
You've just sworn on YouTube again, Carl. Come on.
Shittingham.
Come on. Right.
Oh, this has not gone well.
So thank you anyone on the live stream for joining us.
Sorry for my swearing.
It is a live stream. We may have technical issues. The doorbell may ring. We may have cats interrupting, that kind of thing. It happens quite a lot. All kids. Quite often kids on Carl's side, as he has 3 of the little blighters. So any kids going to interrupt your side, Laura? Or?
I hope not. That would be quite disturbing.
Dogs.
Yeah, so it's please feel free to comment on the comments. Get
Where's Stockholm? Where is Stockholm?
We do have bears. Yeah, it could be a bear. Yeah.
There. So we're gonna have bears interrupting Laura.
I thought you said bears. I was like, how's he gonna get from Bolton to Stockholm?
Bears. Bears.
Oh dear. Right. I also need to record the Zoom, don't I? Yes. Nearly forgot that. There we go. See, right.
There, we're good. Otherwise, we'd never have heard Laura, and it'd be this really awkward conversation.
We'd have to use the live stream audio like we did last week. Right.
We did that because...
So as I said, this is a live stream. We are going to make mistakes. If you want to watch the completed or listen to the completed podcast, go to Monkeyseat. www.monkeyseatpod.com and you can catch up with us there, and we're on Anchor and all major podcasting platforms including Spotify. So yeah, let's get on with the podcast. With some minor technical issues we've got this week, I'm not able to play the intro music, but I'll get that sorted for next week hopefully. So imagine really cool rock music now.
Yeah, like and if you go back to you go back onto the earlier bits of YouTube to actually listen to the discussions of music openings.
Yes,
motorsport, because that's what we talked about, because it was really random. Are we live then? So what are we doing? Have we finished the music?
No, I've forgotten what I was going to say at the start now, but I'll make something up on the fly. We may have to record this bit over and over. So right, let's go.
I'll give you a clue. It's going to be about a blonde idiot.
Oh, okay, yeah. Dan Ticktum,
that's the one.
We're going to be nice to Ticktum this year.
How can we? He hasn't started off well.
Well, it's going to start off well because I'm going to be nice about him.
Right, hang on. Let's actually get through the intro here.
I'm gonna wipe the slate clean every year. Like I'm gonna give everyone a fresh chance from the start of the year. Like all of my biases from last year came towards Dan Ticktum.
He lasted a race without sounding like a moany little whinger. So
yeah, it sounded to me like he was purposely trying to not sound like a whinger.
I know.
It sounded a bit like that, but that's personal growth. That's a nice thing.
Anyway, can we get on with the opening so then we can talk about this?
We probably should do, shouldn't we? Let's talk a bit more.
Why have you not pressed buttons?
Yeah, no, I'm just moving some things around.
Look, I've got the Kerry shirt on today.
Okay.
I've gone like I love the fact that it's Kerry, which is in Irish, but the sponsor is also called Kerry. So it's just like it just really explains who I am or where I am even. Unlike Tom, who seemingly is in Melbourne. Do you know what? That logo really pisses me off.
What logo?
The Melbourne logo. It really pisses me off because it's not symmetrical. And it really winds me up.
Oh yeah, I suppose it isn't, is it?
No, because the E is an extra block on the end.
It's an important point.
It really winds me up. Why did they not just put the O in the center, and then do it out. What is going on with the Melbourne logo? It's been winding me up for weeks. I've been meaning to say something about it.
Sorry, yes. I've remembered that we also have to put a plug in for our sponsor as well.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
I've just
Would you get on with the opening of this?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I've done all my bullshit banter. I don't know what
I was literally just about to start and you interrupted
me.
For
fuck's sake. Right. Oh, sorry, I'm swearing
Jesus,
again on YouTube.
Come on, YouTube. Right. Welcome to the Monkey Seat, the podcast that lasts slightly longer than Mazepan's Formula One career has so far. My name is Tom.
And I'm Carl. Leave it to me, Tomo. Oh, no. Let's start that again. And I'm Carl. Leave me to it, Tomo.
Okay, I will. We are a fully independent podcast hosted by two opinionated friends who like
to opinionated.
Yes. We are a fully independent podcast hosted by two opinionated friends who like to put the world to rights.
Visit our website, monkeyseatpod.com, and follow us on all the socials at monkeyseatpod.
You can find us on all major podcasting platforms, including YouTube, by searching for Monkey Seat Podcast.
And if you like what you hear, and even if you don't, leave us a 5-star review, and I'll mumble my way through that.
And on today's podcast, we review the new F1 and F2 season, which arrived with a bang this weekend.
It wasn't that big a bang. Anyway, and also we have F2.
Not like the last part. Not like the
last time. Anyway, and also we have F2 Guru all the way from Stockholm. She's probably got some crazy syndrome, but it's our friend Laura.
Hello, Laura.
Hello.
How are you?
I had to go with it. I know we talked about not going with it in the YouTube chat, but I had to go with it. And I'm sure you get that lots of times.
Well, I'm trying to feel it being here, so you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you all locked down? Are you all locked down over there?
Oh God, no.
No.
We're very, just let's pretend we're not all going to die and carry on.
Oh, we're the opposite. We're so locked down we can't leave 5k from our house. That's and everything else locked down. Can't do anything. And Ireland, the home of drinking, hasn't seen a pub open in about 6 months, maybe a year now. Can't remember. It's been a very long time.
Well, we're pretty much the same here. We've got 4,000 contractions a day, and 58 people died over the weekend, and yet we're still locked down. It's
we're with 16 dead yesterday, and some in the region of 600 a day. Admittedly, we're 10% of where you are.
Yeah, so it's again sort of similar numbers, but again, we're not doing politics, and obviously, anytime anybody dies, it's a massive tragedy. So,
but weirdly, there mustn't be any problems in Bahrain because everyone was hugging and kissing each other.
Yeah,
today,
and we had fans, and we had fans as well,
and we had fans, which Hamilton got really excited about, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Well, he hadn't seen fans in such a long time, so.
Which the last time he saw fans, he said that, and I don't think it was that long ago.
Well, he does that a lot, doesn't he? He says, "Oh, the fans are the best here in Bahrain." So, yeah, I think that's pretty much about what they normally have. I need to turn my notifications off, as I got a lovely notification come through there.
There you go.
That's gone. Right. So would like to say as well, just a quick word from a partner who's come on board to us, not necessarily a sponsor, just a partner who's gonna help us out a little bit. It's Sponsors for Racing. You'll see on our website, they have got a nice banner on there now with a link. Sponsors for Racing. They do financial backing for young drivers, as well as making sure that it's sustainable as well. So they're on about cost reduction and supporting young athletes through motorsport. So
it's great. It's a really cool thing. And if you have a few £100 going to spare, these races are the future, and it'd be nice to not see so much nepotism in the racing. And actually get some raw talent. And it really did prove this week that raw talent actually wins, although there was second came nepotism, so we'll see what happens.
So so there's they're I forgot what I was going to say now, so
Sponsors for Racing, they're
Sponsors
great.
For Racing, yes. Head to their website. It's sponsorsforracing.com, I think it is, isn't it? So
being the number 4.
Yes, so head to their website.
They're like phones for you. What was it? Phones for you. That was it.
That really doesn't work on an audio podcast, but the YouTube are loving it.
Do you? Yeah, well, go onto YouTube and you can see my hand. Do you remember Phones for You?
Yes.
Oh, great. You never had Phones for You, did you, Laura?
Well, I used to live in the UK, so yeah, I'm all.
I
down
did
with both
wonder
of you.
this. This is now,
A British accent. Come on.
I did wonder, and I was like, because I said this to someone, I was like, she seems very British. I'm sure she's English, but maybe she's just got a great English accent with nothing.
No.
And she doesn't look very Swedish either. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for
Anyway.
letting you down on the Swedish side of things.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have.
So basically, we've got 3 people, all from England, in 3 different countries. We're doing well.
Yeah, I'm still in England.
We're doing well. Anyway, should we actually carry on with some racing?
Yeah. So we had a fantastic Bahrain Grand Prix this weekend, which was great for both F1 and F2. We had 4 races, and all of them were crackers. I think it's a great start to the season. So we'll head straight into the review of the Bahrain Grand Prix. So this is my first 2-minute challenge of the year. Quite nervous about it as well, because I've literally just only finished it a couple of minutes ago as well.
Oh,
so
didn't. Excuses.
Yeah, I'm bound to trip over myself, and this is where you'll see on the live stream. You'll see just how many times I have to redo it when I screw up. So I'm going to try and power on regardless, unless I really screw up, and then I may just start again. So here we go.
Make up the rules as we go along now.
Perez broke down on the formation lap, causing an aborted start. At the actual start, it's go, go, go in Formula 1 for 2021, and Nikita Massa's spin is out. Oh well. Bottas did his usual trick of losing places off the line, dropping behind Charles Leclerc, while Norris managed to squeeze past his teammate just before the safety car was deployed for Mazepin. Gasly hit the back of Ricciardo, causing him to lose his front wing and effectively end his race. Verstappen looked in control up front, but was complaining that he had diff issues, which was causing rear wheel spin, and Bottas made his way past Leclerc, and that was about as good as it got for Bottas Vista 3.8, whatever he is now. Alonso caused a midfield shake-up by taking an early stop, resulting in the shuffle which caused Ricciardo to lose out in traffic. Hamilton took a very early stop on lap 14, and his pace on his outlap was enough for Red Bull not to be able to respond, so instead they stuck to their usual strategy. Hamilton made his second stop on lap 28, falling behind Verstappen again, with Bottas stopping a few laps later. Bottas, however, had a sticky wheel and fell behind Norris and Leclerc. Hamilton, nursing his tyres, stayed within Verstappen's pit window, now going to the end, as Max extended to have better tyres to attack Hamilton at the end. 16 laps to go, and Max was 8.5 seconds behind Hamilton after taking his final stop and began to eat into his lead. The midfield battled away, with Vettel punting Ocon off, Tsunoda advancing well, and Perez having a quietly very impressive drive to 5th. Max eked towards Hamilton, catching him with 5 laps to go. The seemingly inevitable pass for the lead finally happened on lap 53 as Hamilton lost time lapping Giovinazzi. Max, however, got a flick of understeer and slid off the track, just enough for the race director to insist that Hamilton be allowed back past. This gave Hamilton a renewed sense of hope. Lewis kept it neat and tidy and was somehow able to hold Verstappen off for the remaining 3 laps and took a fabulous victory. Stroll also ran.
Oh, is Stroll going to be the also ran this year?
He is, yeah. That was easy. I cut too much out. I cut loads out in that midsection because I thought I'd have nowhere near enough time, and I had about 15 seconds to spare.
You must have missed loads of the race with that 15 seconds. That's disappointing.
Yeah, well, I did have lots of stuff in there about Vettel's push up the field with Perez and then falling away, and I did have some stuff in about Ocon as well, but I cut it all back because I thought that's never going to fit into 2 minutes. Slightly disappointing.
No. So I haven't actually got any talking points this time because Tom hasn't actually set them up like he usually does. Well,
you watched the race, so what do you want to talk about?
I did watch the race. Should we start with Mazzy's spin? Oh,
okay, let's get him out of the way.
Have you seen the website? Have you seen the website?
He apparently does have a website.
No. The Mazzy Spin website.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, it's brilliant. I've got to find it now. What was it? Anyway.
It's in the same ballpark as Has Pastor Maldonado crashed today.com.
Exactly what I was about to ask. Yeah.
It's like when did he last spin.org or something like that.
No, I think it's just Mazzy's MAZ. Hang on, I've got to find it now because I actually pissed myself laughing quite a lot of it. And some of the spins, there's like the first spin he did on practice 1. No, actually, it wasn't in practice 1. It was in the the testing. He just spun and then just carried on driving. It was brilliant.
Yeah. He spun like 4 times in practice and qualifying, and then once in the race. And I heard someone say this really made me chuckle. Officially now, he has spent more than twice the amount of time driving parade laps than he has driving in Formula 1.
Really.
2 parade laps and 3 corners of actual racing.
Yeah, the website is www.mazesp.in. And it's brilliant.
So it's
and
Mazzy Spin.
Yeah, Mazzy Spin. And it's literally just all his random spins. Whoever came up with that, you're a genius.
So is that a compilation of all his spins? Or
yes,
is that
it's all
right?
his
No, because
spins
there is
on.
another one. There's another one which is something like has Nikita Mazepin spun today?
No, but it's got a countdown on it as well.
Oh, okay.
It's got a countdown on it as well as to how long since his last spin.
So there's obviously 2 in there.
I
think, in all seriousness, I think the Haas is just a really difficult car to drive. I think it's obviously
it's been 23 hours, 27 minutes, and 15 seconds. No, it's not a shit car to drive. It's just that they're both
did it as well.
They're both young drivers that haven't got a clue. But then this is I said, oh, this is young drivers that haven't got a fucking clue. And then Tsunoda managed to drive around the track and not spin, fall off, or do anything stupid. But oh my god, I literally laughed. I cried. You know when they do the lineup and they do the kneel, or what is it now? Equality and inclusion and greenery and whatever else bollocks we can throw out there. When that happened, and then there's this lovely image of all the guys, and then the little 4-foot Tsunoda in the middle of them. I'm just like, don't you just want to give him a cuddle?
You want to give him a book of yellow pages to stand on or something, don't you?
Should he not be horse riding instead of driving cars? I'm not quite sure. He's a very little boy. But he is a boy though, isn't he? He's so young.
He's really young. Yeah.
He's so young and so small, and it's just like, oh. If you gave him yellow pages, someone would end up kissing him. That's a really old joke that no one will understand unless you're very English and of our period.
Yeah.
But that's what makes him. I think that's why people will like him so much, because he's so aggressive and then he's so cute, and you're kind of like, oh, this is so confusing.
Do you know what he reminds me of? The Gremlins. He's a gremlin.
He is.
He's a gremlin.
Is that racist? Can we say that? No. Okay.
How's that racist?
I don't know.
Bears.
I don't know. It sounded like it could have potentially been racist, but
there's
no
racism. You've made this racist, and I'm not quite sure how.
No, I didn't. I've not made it racist.
Yes, you have. I said he's a gremlin because they're cute during the day and then they're angry when they get wet, or at night. I can't remember what it is. But you've somehow made it into a really racist.
I loved how the commentators were surprised that he was screaming and shouting in practice. It's like, you haven't watched F2.
You haven't watched it.
Yeah, that did make me laugh. No, he did all right. I mean, his qualifying, we're on Tsunoda now. Obviously, his qualifying was phenomenal. Up until Q2, obviously. But
that Q2 qualifying was a bit of a random, jump in the middle of it, where it suddenly the Ferraris came out fucking nowhere. And it was just like, where
you're really going well with this lack of swearing on YouTube today, aren't you?
Shit.
That's at least 3 times. He was very well behaved last week, and then this.
I was. Do you know what it is? Is that who was on with us last week? It was just us two, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was thinking a bit more about it.
Are you showing off in front of Laura?
I'm showing my language off in front of Laura. That's it.
Making me feel better for when I start swearing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're doing anyway, back to my swearing. But yeah, it was all a bit weird, that Q2. It's only the Ferraris came out of nowhere and Tsunoda dropped out, and it was all a bit like, what happened? And Vettel's Q1 was just appalling.
I think the AlphaTauris, I think they underestimated how quick the Ferraris were.
I think everyone underestimated how quick the Ferraris were.
Yeah. And I think the fact that they were actually in a position where they could strap on the mediums and try and get into Q3, that shows just how strong that car is. So that's good for them, but I think they're a little bit over ambitious there with the with what they were trying to do. But it's a shame because Tsunoda, he had the overall pace to get into Q3, but he's still so new and so green that to expect him to be able to deliver that consistently over a session, I think was a little bit misguided of them, to be honest.
Do you know what I did like about this year and this race was the fact that you've now got a better driver in a shitter car and a rubbish driver a rubbish driver in a better car and a better driver in a rubbisher car, if that makes sense. You know,
Sort of.
they're basically it's level playing field now with the Red Bull and Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
And with a lot of them, do you know, it sort of feels a bit more like those that have got better cars have got rubbisher drivers, and those that have got rubbish drivers, you know, like.
Well, Aston Martin, case in point, straight away. I mean, they didn't seem anywhere at all. No. And then, like, Vettel just seemed to not have to grips with it at all yet. Stroll was just middling around in the midfield, you know.
Well, you know, but what was interesting was Perez, who, you know, Perez did a typical Perez, came from the back and went all the way through the field, you know, and came up really quite high. I mean, Bottas did a typical Bottas, you know, drove around 20 seconds behind Hamilton and just somehow got into the middle field.
Yeah, he didn't seem on it at all weekend, to be honest. He was never anywhere near Hamilton.
Sorry, I missed
he's just going to carry on complaining about his strategy and his team not giving him the right pit stop and all of that. Classic Bottas.
Classic Bottas.
But then, what's going on with Vettel? Does he like really... Rubbish. Fecked up. Fecked is not a swear. Really fecked up. Weirdly, there was a really weird delay there.
Yeah, it dropped out my end as well. You then sped up.
Sorry. Does Vettel like really fecked up plans, strategies? Because again, he's out there with the last person still to have one pit stop, and it was just like going round. And I was like, yeah, but you're not going anywhere. You're actually going backwards. You did this last time with Ferrari, and I blamed Ferrari constantly. But hang on, you're doing it again in an Aston? What's going on? Like,
it was exactly the same as when he was with Ferrari. He did a ridiculous accident that he didn't need. He had a stupid strategy that he didn't want, and it's just in a green car.
It was exactly the same. It was like Vettel was in a Ferrari, and nothing had changed. So is it Vettel that's the problem, and not...
We've said this year, haven't we? This will either make or break Stroll's career, because if he destroys Vettel, then it's that's definitely Vettel
sort of has already.
Yeah, but still, people will be like, yeah, but Vettel was rubbish, so actually it doesn't matter. So it won't make Stroll's career. They'll find excuses even if he beats Vettel.
I don't think Lawrence Stroll is above hiring a 4-time world champion and then fully ruining his career on purpose to further his son's aims. That wouldn't surprise me either. Just all those bits we threw in the bin, put them on Vettel's car.
Yeah.
It's right, I'll pay his salary. Don't worry about salary. I'll pay his salary. Just make sure you screw him.
Crashing into Ocon was all Vettel, though, surely.
Oh my God, it really was. Like, Vettel, like, what was going on with that? No, like, Vettel was like, he broke. Of course he's going to break. He's on going around a corner.
He's saying that he's saying he moved in the braking zone, didn't he? It's like, he moved forwards.
And was going around the corner. He was driving around the corner at the point. Yeah. He didn't move anywhere else apart from round the corner.
It reminded me of two instances. One was when Ricciardo went out the back of Verstappen in Baku, when Verstappen did move in the braking zone, and then the other one was actually Vettel again when him and Verstappen had a battle in was it into Vale in Silverstone. He ducked underneath him, lost all front grip, and just went up the back of Verstappen and punted him into the gravel. It reminds me of both of those instances, and so one of which was involving Vettel. So you'd think he would have learned from it. He's definitely lost something in racecraft. And I say lost. He's only really ever been good in racecraft when he's had the superior car.
But sorry, Vettel got 5 points. He got 3 points in the 5 grid placement from ignoring the double yellows.
Mm-hmm.
He got a penalty for the crash with. I mean, what is going on with it?
Yeah, like, didn't he also have to change something on his car, which meant he dropped to the back as well?
He ignored the double yellows. That's why he dropped to the back.
Was that why he dropped to the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a 5 grid penalty. I mean, he only had 3 paces to drop back, so he actually did quite well.
Yeah.
But still, Perez was even behind him and still managed to get up. And he's just like,
well, yeah, they were going through the pack together, weren't they? It was Vettel just ahead of Perez for quite a while, and then Perez got past Vettel, and then they were
which was quite fun watching that as they moved up. So
yeah, they were up to 5th and 7th at one point. Yeah, but that was obviously before the stops.
typical Russell manages to get up quite high, and then suddenly the pit stops come in, so he drops straight back down again.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Williams just went backwards. I think it's going to be a long season for them. They're obviously going to beat Haas. But
I mean, that's not hard. They've got
they
Haas have only got one driver, so you know. Actually, and Latifi didn't actually do too badly this time.
I said this. I mean, I was on Grid Talk this weekend, and I was on the qualifying show, and I said on the qualifying show that that Latifi looks like he's actually a Formula One driver this year. He looks like he's going to get closer to Russell and have more competitive races. But whereas last year he just seemed completely out at sea. But
is that because he is better, or is because the benchmark is much lower because now we have Haas behind them?
Well, I think it is more because of him, because he just genuinely seems closer to Russell and more on it, whereas he just seemed all over the place last year. I'm not even looking at the Haas. As far as I'm concerned, it's an 18-car grid.
Yeah, I mean, Haas's are not even in the... I know it's going to sound really bad, and Haas will score points by accident somehow. And it'll be really annoying because the Williams would have driven better all season. And it happened last year. The Williams actually drove better, and certainly Russell drove better than both the Haases. And it's just madness. And the Haases are just the rubbishest drivers, and they've got the world's worst car. I don't quite.
And to be honest, I think they're probably the worst team as well.
Yeah,
they've their infrastructure, the personnel. But
interestingly, you say that, and yet that is the team that no one leaves. That was actually said on Drive to Survive, wasn't it? That actually.
Oh, because if Drive to Survive say it has to be true.
No, but do you know what I mean? Is that it's like a team that no one seems to go in or out of that much.
Yeah, well, that's because they've only been around for a few years.
Yeah, but that's probably part of the problem, is that there is no movement, so they're just keeping the chaff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they say that because they had Grosjean from the very start when they first came in as a team. Grosjean
Magnussen came in the year after.
Yeah, they had Gutierrez for the first year, and then Magnussen came in for Gutierrez. But the thing is, the reason they didn't really change the driver lineup was because the drivers were both very good drivers and they were outperforming the car. This year, you've got a car that's not been developed and two drivers that have never raced in Formula One, and you've lost all that experience. They're just going to be nowhere.
So what do we think about this year's and the driver swappages? Has anyone made a mistake yet?
You want to take this one, Laura?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking, I guess, I don't want to say Aston Martin have made a mistake, but it doesn't look great did it with Vettel? So
yeah.
We'll see.
Well, equally, again, Vettel didn't really have a choice. It was that or nothing for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Driver-wise.
Yeah, but Aston Martin-wise, I mean, I think
exactly.
The problem with Aston Martin, right? They've taken on. I mean, if you want to go back to listen to last week's show, I said back in December that Aston Martin would finish sixth in the championship this year. And people laughed at me, but
I laughed at you, and now I wish to take that back.
Yeah. Oh, I also said Ferrari would be second, so yeah, let's just gloss over that bit. But
I mean, if you take in qualifying too. You could have been.
Yeah. But either way, I think the problem with Aston Martin is they've done the whole tracing point thing last year. They've copied the Mercedes philosophy, and then the powers that be have taken a load of downforce away. So the evolution of that car is something that they don't understand. They didn't develop that car, so they don't really understand what made that car quick. They just know it's quick. So now they've lobbed a load of downforce off it. They don't know how to recover it because they don't fundamentally understand the philosophy of that car. Yeah. So I think that's why they're struggling. And Otmar Schaffner, there's something about that guy, I just don't like him.
I don't like him.
But he's been
just don't even
whinging about how like the regulations have been into basically they've hurt them the most. And it's like, well, they've only hurt you the most because you don't understand your philosophy. And you've copied the quickest car on the grid, and they've tried to hobble the quickest car on the grid. So as a result, yes, you've then been affected as well. That's kind of, you said at the time that they're focusing on 2020, what was then 2021. So the 2020 car was only going to be a one-car deal anyway, and now they've had to make it last for 2 years. Sorry.
Yeah, let's talk about McLaren then, because Norris Norris did incredibly well. I mean,
yes,
he jumped Ricciardo. And then sat in fourth, and there was, I mean, was that? I mean, is that where he should be now? And that's where we're aiming for. He did this last season. He was up. I mean, he came third in the first race of the last season, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Is this what we're expecting of Norris, or is this going to be the big hurrah which happened with Norris last year, and then he slowly goes backwards?
I think the difference is last year McLaren had the 7th and 8th quickest cars when you look at everyone else. So basically, their target every lap was 7th and 8th, or every race was 7th and 8th, unless there were problems. This year, I think they are 5th and 6th.
Yeah.
So
with
looking at that,
with lucky thirds and fourths when they can.
When there are problems, they're going to be, they're going to be able to fight for podiums. So I don't think it is going to be just a flash in the pan. I think it is genuinely that is their pace. Obviously, Perez was out of the picture, so therefore Norris was there in 4th.
Yeah,
so
which makes sense, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we'll be seeing that a lot more.
But I would love to see Norris beat Ricciardo this season. That would be amazing.
Those two are my favourite two drivers in Formula One, and they were before Ricciardo came to McLaren. So
I obviously hate Ricciardo, so I'll be happy to see.
Oh, you said this last time, didn't you? Yes, I remember. It's like,
controversially, I still don't like him, so I'll be happy to.
Did I tell you he LinkedIn messaged me?
No, you didn't.
What?
I sent him a message just saying, "Oh yeah, I do this quite randomly.
Get him on. Get him on."
I send random messages and go like basically join LinkedIn. So I sent him a message. I'm sure I'm talking to one of his
Why is he on
PAs.
LinkedIn?
Well, because he started his job with Opus, which is an Australian like telecoms company, and he's the head of Optimism. True story.
Oh God, this is the thing. This is just fueling my dislike.
And so I sent him a bullshit. I was going to say a swear word. I sent him that hilarious. I send loads of people these hilarious messages. Not hilarious, but like, come into our podcast. We're really hoping you're well done on getting into the McLaren or some rubbish like that. And then he replied saying, "Thanks, mate. Speak to you soon." I was like, "Yeah, I'm friends with Ricardo."
I love your begging letters as well. When you're like, because we contact people, like we managed to get a phone out of Rocket last year for the
we've got
prediction
that
league.
to do as well. I need to do that. Sorry, I've just remembered something.
Yeah, and then Carl's like begging letters, like he sends to people on like Twitter and LinkedIn and stuff. They're always just like, "Oh, please come and sponsor us. We'll love you forever." It's just, like... but it worked. That. We got a phone out of Rocket, so
Daniel Ricciardo. Here we go. I sent him a message saying, "Hey, thanks for the ad. Best of luck with this season. Bring it home. If you ever have to get 10 minutes, we'd love to have you on the podcast. But totally get how awesome and busy you are." I actually said that. How awesome and
you're
busy
such
you
a fanboy.
Carl, fanboy! And his response was, "Cheers, mate. All the best. Thanks for connecting," in a really Australian accent. But yeah, so Daniel Ricciardo is Chief of Optimism at Optus, and he's a driver of fast cars.
Okay, good to know.
So
wow, you're such a fangirl, Carl. You know that.
But actually, we still need to get onto that person where we're going to love forever.
Well, I won't love them forever, but yeah. Okay, it's fine. Will. Anyway, will we? Okay,
I will.
Okay,
I will.
Let's not reveal that just in case.
I will. No, we will.
We'll tell you after we've recorded, Laura.
Yeah.
Good.
You can have the inside scoop. Anyway, so other talking points for the race. Anything? You can tell I'm not prepared for this episode, can't you?
Yeah, other touring boats. Okay, let's talk about the final scrap down between Verstappen and Hamilton. And
track limits.
The track limits. Oh my God, I thought these were going to go away because I thought they'd forgotten about them almost, or I can't remember. But like, why can they never decide whether we're going to have track limits or not? It really winds me up. And why do they change between final practices? It really annoys me. It's just like, decide. It's not hard. You've been there before. You all know you all know the track. Why make this an issue? Like, you know it. The course clerks know it. Well, I don't understand why. It's not like they've just made the track up that morning. And seemingly they decide to change everything every 10 minutes as to where these edges are. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, you can keep on your line and go around the corner." Grand. So that line, but the person that's overtaking you, that's going to have to go the longer way round, and use more fuel and more speed to get round you has to give the place back. What?
So this week's Fevered Ranting was brought to you by Sponsors for Racing. Yeah, so I think it's... I actually think they said during qualifying they would delete your lap time if you went wide.
Oh, that's fine. I get that in qualifying. Absolutely. But at least decide that before final practices.
The problem they have is
decide that from the very beginning.
They said that if you gain a lasting advantage in the race, then we would look at it. And what does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. We will look at it.
No, it means they get free cars and decide who gets to give away and who, which route they're in.
You see Hamilton going wide at that turn like 30 odd times throughout the race. And then Red Bull he's getting an advantage from it. Maybe you should start doing it as well. And then they clamp down on it and say, okay, you need to stop doing it now. But what they have always said is a completely separate argument is it doesn't matter about that turn or any track. If you make a pass and you're not on the track, then you will have to give that place back or take a penalty. That is just in the rules. So the whole track limits things is actually irrelevant when it comes to that argument because he was off the track when he made the pass. So it doesn't actually matter. But Max had every opportunity to take that shortcut that Hamilton was as well. I don't think it was really gaining any time, but what it was doing was he wasn't having to put as much pressure on the tyres through that turn, and then that was helping his tyre management. So I think it wasn't really a time gain, it was more a management thing, which has obviously proved vital at the end. So I think that's more, it's there, they've said you can use it, but if you keep doing it, we may speak to you. So you do it until you're told not to. And he did that, and he used everything that was available to him at the weekend.
To be honest, I'm not fussed about that. I'm more fussed about that overtake that Verstappen did.
In what way fussed?
Like, why did he have to give it back?
I mean, it looked stupid. They obviously have someone stewarding who's like me, who doesn't really care that much. But if something looks stupid, they're going to clamp down on it. And I don't care about the track limits. Like, fine, do whatever you want to do. But if you're actually going to go off the track and overtake someone, it's going to look so stupid that they have to get it. They have to give it back. It just looks bad.
Yeah, but hang on. He went off the track limit, went further round on a further corner. It wasn't, and he was back on the track by the left-hander. He'd gone round the right-hander, and he was back on the track by the left-hander. He's gone further. He's done more distance. Why is he getting...
It does look stupid, right? You're watching cars racing on a track, and then one of them just goes like all the way around and overtakes.
Yeah, but he had no... What choice did he have? Where could he
could have stayed inside track limits.
Yeah,
but where could he have gone? Where could he have gone when Hamilton was pushing him out?
Okay, we're at Monaco. That's a wall. Does he do it then?
Well, obviously not. But where does he go? He crashes into that wall. And what? Does Hamilton push him all the way to the wall?
Hamilton didn't push him at all. He took his line.
Hamilton took his line and pushed him to the wall.
He didn't.
If Verstappen, if that was a real solid wall, agreeably, if that was a wall, would Hamilton have taken that line? No, because he would have seen Hamilton. He would have gone.
No, but Verstappen wouldn't have gone for the overtake.
I would have. What?
He didn't force Verstappen off the track. He was nowhere near
him.
Go
like Extreme E and put solid walls down every bloody side. Or like Monaco, and put solid walls down every side. Let's stop worrying about where the track edges are. And they can't go anywhere when they can't smash into anything if they've got walls down the sides.
They put the runoff in there for safety reasons, obviously, and to allow people to race.
But Monaco doesn't count.
Monaco doesn't count. Monaco doesn't count for anything because it's historic. But they put the
Extreme E that has walls everywhere.
They put
Extreme.
Sorry, not Extreme E.
It's Formula E, isn't it? Extreme E has no walls. They literally have. Extreme E is like you're on a glacier or something, aren't you?
I was like,
that starts next week. There we go. We plugged that. That starts next week.
It does start next week. Yes. So let's say Hamilton did not force him off the track, and Verstappen made the move, but just got a little bit of oversteer and just nipped off the track, and he was all four wheels were clearly off the track when completing the move. And I know what you're saying about going more distance, but he was able to carry more speed through there by going off the track. All the other drivers were taking, well, not all the other, a lot of drivers were taking shortcuts by going wide at turn 4, I think, isn't it? Yeah, going wide at turn 4 because if it wasn't an advantage, they wouldn't be doing it. And so it's obviously an advantage to be there. So that's in the rules. He was not on the track when he made the pass, so he had to give it back or take a penalty. And I don't think it's a good look for Formula One if you've got somebody overtaking someone and then adding 5 seconds to their finish time. You know, I don't think that's a good look, because you want to see the cars finishing the track where they finish is where they finish. You don't want to have stewards' inquiries and time penalties and people getting bumped off the podium like we had in Mexico and Texas a few years ago. You just want to see the finishing order being the finishing order, and allowing Hamilton back through. Yes, it may have looked silly, but it's better than having a penalty there. There's no perfect answer.
But Verstappen
Well, the perfect answer is pot solid walls there.
Sorry, say again, Laura. Carl's interrupting you.
Verstappen should have just let him pass at a different time, right? That was the worst, most uncomfortable time to let pass.
Yeah, because he gave him DRS as well, didn't he? Hamilton had DRS, so Hamilton goes past him with DRS, and then Verstappen's moved onto the dirty line. He's got dirty tyres. Again, like you say, what he should have done was should have gone round onto the start-finish straight, waited for Hamilton to get into his slipstream, make Hamilton go onto the dirty side of the grid to get past him. Then he can stay on the racing line, have cleaner tyres, and then get him going into turn 2 on the DRS zone. That would have been a better thing to do, but I think he was just like, no, I'll just let him straight past then, so I can have another crack at him at the end of the lap. But he had 3 laps to go. And he had a definite pace advantage. It just didn't. It did seem like a silly place to let him pass. But credit to him though, he didn't moan about it. He just did it.
Yeah. Was there too many moans this time? There wasn't really any sort of stupid moans.
It was all right.
I didn't hear enough moaning. I wanted to hear more complaining. I really struggled to write stuff on my race review.
Oh, for Formula 2? There was not enough moans.
There was no Dick Tantrums, was there?
No. Did you know what? I think Mazepin would have had a few if he lasted more than 3 corners.
He probably complained at least twice in just those 3 corners.
We just didn't hear them because it was too busy with other stuff.
Yeah. I don't think they put enough Raikkonen complaining on. I'm sure he complained more. He didn't just drive the whole race without complaining.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Raikkonen loves it, didn't he? Yeah, he did actually complain, didn't he? I can't remember what he complained about.
Yeah, he complained about his teammate. Said is there anything we can do to get me past him? And then all of a sudden he had a slow stop.
Sorry, let's talk about slow stops. Let's go back on slow stops. I mean, what is going on in the Mercedes pit? Was Netflix in again?
No.
What is going on with Mercedes pit? Because once again, they screw up at the time.
They do not like that track, do they?
But it's just like, no, they seem to have issues anyway. Oh, yeah, it was the same track, wasn't it? But they seem to have issues. And they're stupid issues. Like the last time they put the wrong tyres on, this time he dropped it before they'd even got the tyre off. What were you thinking? Like, it was obvious. You can see the guy still is trying to undo it. Okay, they've got a problem getting it off. But don't drop it and give the guys even more problems to try and deal with.
But I loved Ted Kravitz's narration of that because he was just like, oh, it's down. No, you need to pick it up again. I was just like, yeah, I need Ted Kravitz narrating bad pit stops more often.
Yeah.
It's just like, Ted Kravitz on all the pit stops was quite funny. He did another one which was like, and that's 2.3 seconds and they're on and the wheels are off. And I was like, but the wheels are off and the wheels are on. I was like, yep, that's what happens in a pit stop, really. There's nothing more exciting. The wheels don't come off and wheels go on again.
Don't diss on Ted. I love Ted.
But what is going on with them? Like, are they just are they spending too much time on other stuff?
Well, you look at the average pit stops there. I mean, was it Hamilton and Bottas were getting like 2.9 and 2.7 pit stops, and then
Red Bull was 1.7.
Like, 1.9, I think, and then
1.9.
And then there was another one at 2.1 or something. And it's just like, it's just the difference. They're saving half a second on every pit stop. But equally, I would rather have 2.9 second pit stops every single time and there never be a problem. But having like sub 2 second pit stops and then forgetting to put a wheel on or something and then wrecking a race. You make one of those mistakes over a season and then it makes all of the gains irrelevant. You have to be perfect on pit stops.
Bottas was lucky that Norris was so far behind him. And we're talking...
Well, he got past him, didn't he?
No.
Yeah, he did. Bottas and Leclerc were ahead of him after that. It was Ricciardo that was behind him.
Oh, was it Ricciardo?
But then
there was pit stops. There was still pit stops. They hadn't pitted Lando and...
I think he passed them on track. We just didn't see it.
No. Lando and...
no, he was, because he was like 45 seconds off at the end, wasn't he?
Yeah. So
which is about half a second a lap. It looks like the McLarens are off the overall pace, which is not bad. That's definitely a gain on last year.
So, they just need to... they need some training. I swear to God, because they're not fast enough. They need to look at Williams. They need to look at Red Bull and go, "Oh, that's how we do pit stops. We're not a bunch of idiots." But unfortunately, they are, and it's killing them. It ironically, that's one thing that is killing them, and they're lucky they've got a fast car. But maybe they just don't care because they've got a fast car.
I think okay, you can say the pit stops were not great, but they strategized their way to a race win. They won that race. Red Bull lost it.
I'm not denying the strategy was wrong. It's the same as last time. They screwed up the pit stops.
Yeah.
I'm not saying sorry. Their strategy in the car and the drivers, no, Mercedes, solid. But the pit stops are what is going to screw them. It screwed them for Bahrain, and it nearly screwed them a third place for this.
I think Bottas still had he still had the pace, obviously, but that's just because Perez started at the back.
Yeah, but he shouldn't, there was so much. Yeah, if Perez was further up, because that would have slowed down Bottas. Do you know what I mean? Perez being up in third would have slowed down Bottas, and then we would have had, and then the Norris would have been further up his arse, and that would have even been more of a challenge for fourth. I just feel that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of it's what it is. I mean, they're so far ahead; it doesn't seem to matter what they're going to do to Bottas. Really, it's going to be if Perez isn't there, then Bottas is going to be third. I just don't. I think he's now on borrowed time. I mean, he'll finish the season with them, obviously, but I can't see them. I think they'll announce pretty early on. As soon as Hamilton agrees that he's going to stay on, which I do think will happen, then you'll see George Russell being confirmed as the second car.
Yeah. Do you think they really want Russell against Hamilton? Bottas is still a good number 2.
I think they'll have to, because I still think this year Red Bull are going to win the constructors.
I think that's it. I really think that's it. Well, no, I don't. I think Mercedes win constructors. Verstappen will win.
I think Mercedes are going to win everything, because they always do stuff at the beginning where we're like, oh, maybe they're not going to win, and then they do. So.
I think this year's the Red Bull have the quickest car at the moment. They have the quickest overall package. It's quickest in qualifying. It's competitive in races, and they've got a great driver and a good driver. Whereas last year they had a great driver and a naff driver. And I just think Bottas is getting further away from Hamilton. Every year Hamilton seems to either step up or maintain, and Bottas seems to be getting worse. They were saying on Grid Talk when I was on the other day, they said that Bottas's best, the closest he's ever finished to Hamilton was 2017. He's got further away every year, which is pretty shocking, really, because considering he comes back every year and reinvents himself and just ends up further back. It just doesn't seem to. There's no progression there, and I think he's going to cost them a constructors' championship this year, and that's why they're gonna make the switch, because they want someone who's going to be closer to Hamilton. Because Hamilton, let's be honest, is not the future. He's got a couple more years at the highest level, and they need to get Russell there, whether it upsets Hamilton or not. That's what they have to do.
That's interesting. Do you reckon it's Verstappen Hamilton, Verstappen Russell in that car in 3 years' time?
No, I don't think so.
I do. I think that's got to be
amazing.
I think, I mean, to be honest, I would love it to be Hamilton Verstappen, but it's not going to happen.
No, sorry, Verstappen Russell.
Yes, I know. I heard what you said, but I think when Hamilton goes, it'll be Russell and probably Ocon, just because he's still part of that driver program. Oh, they haven't really got anyone else Mercedes coming through.
Well, the thing with
who have they got? Sorry, Vesti. Is he Mercedes? Is he? Yeah, he may well be Vesti then.
If Hamilton goes, Wolfie goes as well, doesn't he?
Well, Wolfie signed up for 3 years.
Yeah, so if we're talking 3 years' time, we might have Russell Hamilton for 1, possibly 2 years.
Yeah, I think we'll get it for 1 year, maybe 2.
And then Wolfie will go, and the team will go down. I think. I don't think it'll be as strong.
Yeah, I think by then you've got the budget cap has started to make an impact. The balance of performance for wind tunnel testing and stuff will start to shine through a little bit. It's just going to be a lot harder. I think Toto's going to time it perfectly. He's going to get out after about 3 years, probably move into a higher role in the team, and then not really going to be involved day to day anymore. So I think he's going to time it perfectly. But should we just get on to very quickly how we did on our predictions? Because obviously we're not doing a prediction league as such this year. We're just doing predictions, a bum fight in the room between me and Carl. Carl, you had Hamilton for the winner. Congratulations, 1 point. Verstappen fastest lap, no. And the random position was Latifi. You said 19th, which would have meant that he would have finished behind at least one of the Hasses. So I'm not quite sure why you said that. But
yeah, well, I didn't really think about the Hasses being that rubbish. I thought they might get through the race and Latifi might spin off, to be honest. But
yeah, and then you had Sainz for first retirement, and obviously no bonus points because you only got the 1 point there. But myself, I had Verstappen as the winner, Bottas for fastest lap, so I got a point for Bottas. I had Latifi in 16th. In the end, he was 18th. So yeah, and I got the constructor right, but I had Mick Schumacher for the first retirement because I thought he was going to be punted out by Mazepin. So that's a point each. Level peggings, not bad.
Cool. We're not doing the next one for another couple of weeks, are we? So
no, we've got a few weeks yet. So, who do you think then for driver of the day? Nominations for driver of the day.
So officially, not Ricardo, Perez won, didn't he?
I think, yeah.
I think I don't really like the lad, but Hamilton actually for actually driving well and doing a proper drive at the end there and proving it wasn't about the car.
I think you got to look at Perez, you got to look at Norris as well, but beyond that, I don't think you can look at Verstappen because he had the quickest car, he had pole, and he made a mistake and didn't make it count. So you can't look at Verstappen. I'm torn on that one. What do you think, Laura?
I also agree, Hamilton. To be honest, he did actually do a really good job at the end, and he didn't easily win that race. He made it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably would say Hamilton, but just because I'm going to be outvoted anyway, I'm going to say Norris just because he's my boy. So that's fine. So officially then it's going to be Hamilton as driver of the day. Dick of the day. Any nominations? Anyone besides Mazepin? Okay,
Vettel.
Yeah.
Vettel.
Yeah, it's hard to not go with Mazepin.
Sorry, how can he be dick of the day when he didn't even get really much chance to do any driving and wasn't that much of a dick? He just spun himself off.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not a dick move. That's not a dick move. That's just tish driving.
He's intrinsically a dick, so I think he gets it for that.
I think there's an honorary dick of the year, which is just always going to be Mazepin.
Yeah,
but with regards to this event, I think I agree with you, Carl. I think Vettel just, like, for dashing everyone's expectations and also taking Ocon out, which I'm not Ocon's biggest fan, but he didn't.
There was no reason for it.
He did absolutely nothing wrong. It was just a definite,
And for missing the double yellow and for ignoring the double yellows.
Yeah.
Just a complete and utter.
Cool. Right.
Well,
I've got. Go on.
It's just to balance that, Ocon was all like very nice about it, which was just made Vettel seem even more dick.
Oh, sorry, I do have another dick of the day. The front man, the Jack man at Mercedes. As an honorary mention.
Yeah.
Because that was quite a dick move to not look at the left-hand wheel.
Yeah.
The right-hand wheel. That was
I think it's still Vettel, but we'll take that into consideration.
Honorary mentions.
Standings wise, then, I mean, we don't really need to go into too much detail. There's only one race. It's Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Norris, Perez, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Sainz, Tsunoda, and Stroll. Constructors' Championship. Mercedes maintain their Constructors' Championship lead they've held since Hockenheim 2018. 41 points. Red Bull second on 28, McLaren third on 18, Ferrari up to fourth on 12, AlphaTauri 2, and Aston Martin with the solitary point, which means Alfa Romeo, Alpine, Williams, and Haas still with yet to score. Which I think last year we had like 8 different teams score in the first race, I think. So we only had like Haas and Williams not scoring points after the first race. So yeah, there was nowhere near as much attrition as I thought there would be in this race. I thought there'd be a lot more failures, but we didn't really see any. The only failure really was, I think, was it Alonso?
But apparently he had a sandwich packet or something stuck in his car.
Yeah, it was an NG UK failure, which meant he had no rear engine braking, which meant that his brakes overheated. So yeah, but it probably all Probably all related from the sandwich. The sandwich
Oh,
bag.
was someone hungry during the race?
Probably, yeah. So so there was Alonso. Was there anyone else?
There was also Latifi and Gasly.
Oh yes, of course. That was a bit kind of brushed under, because I know Gasly didn't really. He was at the back with his, after the front wing change, but that kind of just went under the radar. I saw at the end of the race that they retired, but we didn't really see them retire. I think there was just so much action going on that we missed all that. So should we move on to Formula 2 then, and we'll hand over.
Full disclosure, I saw the first race, didn't see the second two, because 3 races is the most tiring, laborious thing to try and watch and think about, and as well as qualifying.
Laborious is not the right word for Formula 2. I'm sorry.
No, sorry, laborious isn't the word. Tedious, dragging out. I don't know. I'm trying to find the right word. If you
think about it, like if you've got F2 and F3, that's 4 races. Whereas in this system, you've got 3 races, 2 of which are sprint races, which are slightly shorter. And should we just touch on that now? Because obviously it's a big shake-up to the Formula 2 structure this year. So do you just want to take us through the changes for this year, Laura, on what's different?
Yes, the format is completely different. So now, instead of having 2 races in the weekend, there's 3, as you said. They start with qualifying, and they qualify for the feature race, which is on Sunday. But then on Saturday, there's 2 sprint races, and the first sprint race is qualifying top 10 reversed. Mm-hmm. And then the second race is the results of the first sprint race with the top 10 reversed. So there's 2 reverse grids, and then the feature race on Sunday before the Grand Prix. I quite liked it, actually.
Yeah, I thought there was an opportunity there to you could have had a sprint race. I think I initially said this when they announced it. You could have had a sprint race which was complete reverse grid, full championship order reverse grid, and have that on the Friday as like you do your practice session, then you have this one race. Then the Saturday you do your qualifying and your feature, and then on the Sunday you have your sprint race. But I really like that they've now made the feature race the feature of the weekend by putting it on the Sunday. That, for me, that's a good thing, because I always hated, like, you would qualify for the feature, you'd win the feature, or you race the feature, and then obviously the top 8 or the top 10 would then get reversed for the sprint the next day. And I always found the sprint race on the Sunday was a bit of a damp squib. I was never really that interested. And then obviously the Saturday race I didn't often get to see live, so it was. I think I prefer having the feature on the Sunday, definitely.
Yeah, and the 2 sprint races are quite fun, because the first sprint race, so they seem to be a bit cautious because they're worried about ruining the second sprint race, and then the second sprint race is just a free for all, because you don't need to worry about Sunday's race because you've already qualified for it. Yeah. So it made it quite exciting, I think, in that sense. Yeah,
I think it's going to promote better racing overall. I like you say, I did find that. I mean, the only thing I think with it is if you have a problem in qualifying, then that basically screws you for 3 races.
Yeah, that's the only problem with it.
Yeah, which, given that you've only got 8 race weekends over the course of the season, if you have a bad qualifying in one, then that means that's an 1/8 of your season ruined. So it's just a little bit disproportionate in that, but we all understand the reasons why, and cost cutting and everything. So I'm kind of for it overall, to be honest. There's just a few negatives to what is normally an overall positive. So let's head to race 1 then. So who was it? It was Lundgaard and was it Zhou were the front 2 qualified?
Well, the qualifying is different to the start of race 1.
Yes, obviously. Yeah, no, but I'm saying they qualified on the front row for what would be the feature. So then obviously that then got reversed.
It was Zhou, Lundgaard, and Drugovich who were the top 3, but then for qualifying, but then it got reversed. So it was Pourchaire who was on the pole position.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to take us through the first race, then
I can. I have a whole minute of review.
Yeah. Minute to win it.
Yes, exactly. All right. So it was Pourchaire who qualified 10th, which meant he was on pole for the first race, naturally. Beckman started 2nd and Lawson was 3rd, making it an all-rookie top 3. Lawson made a great start, taking the lead, while Pourchaire did not, dropping to 3rd behind Beckman before eventually making the place back. Aside from Schwartzman and Piastri almost crashing into each other, it was an uncharacteristically cautious start, as apparently no one wanted to also ruin the next race later in the day. The first race casualties were on lap 2 when Tictum accidentally crashed into Vashore while trying to overtake Joe. Vashore was out, Tictum got a 5-second penalty, and Drugovic seemed to somehow also be involved because he was in the pits getting a new front wing. Back at the front, the all-rookie podium was looking good for some time until De Ruyveler eventually got past Beckman, while Pourchaire was struck down by car issues and forced to retire. This left Lawson still in the lead, but with De Ruyveler and Beckman in second and third. De Ruyveler obviously wasn't content with second and put Lawson under a lot of pressure, while Lawson desperately told his team, "I'm really trying," which he clearly was, because he managed to somehow fend off De Ruyveler, winning his debut FT race in a very impressive manner.
What a race! Oh, what a start as well from Lawson. He started third, didn't he? And just rocket through into the lead.
He was really impressive all the way through, and I think you always think, oh, the rookies are going to kind of lose their tires, especially with it being so sandy in Bahrain, but they did a really, really good job, which I think is super exciting this year.
But that's the thing with FT, the rookies don't seem to have as much confusion of stepping up as they do when they go up to Formula One. There doesn't seem to be that. Is it that there's just not?
I think it's more that they're starting in relatively equal machinery in that way, and when you've got the top guys in F3, if they're in a team like with Prema, for example, they'll often put them straight into the Prema in F2, which are obviously one of the better teams. So they'll and ART as well, team in F3 and team in F2. So you tend to get a lot of crossover with the drivers that way.
You do see the ones who miss F3 or who come from another way coming straight into F2. They do struggle a lot more than the ones who start in F3. So it must be like a more easy progression in that sense.
Yeah. Obviously the structures and formats are very similar. So I really enjoyed Yuri Vips. I mean, he had we'll talk about him later in the other races as well, but he just had such an unlucky weekend. He started 22nd because he got disqualified from qualifying, didn't he? But he was up to 14th after 2 laps, and then I didn't realise at the time, but he ended up getting reverse grid pole because there was some late race penalties, weren't there? So great race from him. I mean, he came in. I really feel really sorry for Vips because he was all kind of the next in line for a Formula One seat with Red Bull. But Tsunoda got the nod because Vips basically, because of COVID,
Vips isn't Chinese.
No,
Japanese?
Well, he's Japanese. But
Sorry, Japanese.
No, Vips is Estonian, but he was supposed to be racing in Japan, but then because of lockdown, he just couldn't get to anything and basically lost his entire season. And then he only came in for Sean Galail got injured, and he came in for a couple of races for Galail at the end of the season. And that's all the racing he did last year, and he missed his chance. Now, obviously, if he'd have gone to F2 and Tsunoda had gone to Super Formula, then I think you'd see Vips in F1 right now. So. But yeah,
I don't know. Honda still wanted a Japanese person in there.
I mean, they did, but I don't think it made a difference because Tsunoda just. I don't think it did.
It really did. It was casual racism, exactly why Mick Schumacher's in the hat. But we won't talk about that anyway.
So we touched on Dick Tantrum. Sorry, no, I said I'd be nice to him this year.
Dan he didn't have any tantrums, so
no, he didn't. He was. I mean, he just obviously. The trouble is, his voice makes it sound like he's moaning, no matter what he's doing. He's just It does. It's like whenever he talks, just like, oh god, he sounds like a moody teenager.
I'm going to say this again, but because he's a young boy, they all sound like that. Come on.
He's not a young boy. He's a
22.
They're moany, if they're under 25 and young moany boys.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I'm willing to, as I said, I'm willing to wipe the slate clean for this year and give him a go and get behind him because
you seem so willing.
I love getting behind
until he gets sick of the day, and then we'll.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm behind. I'm fully behind Dan Ticktum this year. He says until he screws up. But yeah, no, he obviously spun around. Yeah, spun round for sure. Was it lap 1 or lap 2 or something?
Lap 2, yeah.
Yeah.
It was an accident though.
Yeah.
It wasn't he didn't actually mean that one. It wasn't.
I think the Prema battle this year is going to be fascinating.
I'm excited about that for sure.
Yeah, because Schwartzman, the highest placed returnee from last year, favourite for the championship for me, and Piastri seems to have the measure of him straight away.
And Piastri is the same as Schwartzman was last year, right? Schwartzman last year, the F3 champion, coming in, challenging, being really exciting. Everyone's like, "Oh, great, he's doing really well." Kicked out. And and now Piastri coming up is exactly the same, so it'll be super interesting.
Piastri's me F2 boy. He's who I'm supporting in F2 this year.
I
Is he?
do like him, but I don't like that he's like a Alpine like driver because he's challenging Lundgaard
So
for the
yeah,
Alpine.
sorry. This
Yeah.
I got really annoyed and really peed off with Formula 2 because of the Red Bulls.
Because it's hard to tell who anyone is.
Yeah,
That's
I have
why.
no idea who anyone is. I'm not sure what teams they're driving for. I
Every
am
driver
so confused.
associated with the Red Bull Academy has to have their card in the Red Bull colours. But it's frustrating because you've got like
Why can't they change? Like, okay, I get that, but have something different on the noses
Yeah.
or something. They are. I like. Why don't Red Bull allow that? Do you know what I mean? I get that they need to be in their Red Bull colours. I
brand
get that.
image, isn't it? But,
Yeah, but like put something on, like they can each have
Ferrari
different
do it.
noses.
Like you look at the Ferrari young drivers last year, they had Ilott in with ART colours, but then or ART livery, but then changed it to Ferrari colours, which looked cool because you had like Zhou and Ilott in yellow and red cars in the same team.
See, I don't mind that. Like, I don't mind
cool.
them being different cars as long as they look the same. But having two Red Bulls chasing each other like we did this time,
You got
and
4 in there,
neither of them-
haven't you?
and neither of them were from the same. They weren't from the same
different teams.
team.
One's high tech and
Yeah, and it was just so confusing. I was like, I'm not sure who I'm watching, who this is.
No.
Like, which
you
team
can tell
is-
close up because they got different sponsors. They got different
it's-
sponsors on the rear wings and they got different sponsors on the side pods.
But because there's 4 of them, it just makes it even more confusing. If it was, you know, you get used to having 2 teams. You know, I have no idea which one's Stroll and which one's Vettel when you're actually looking at them racing round. Do you know what I mean? Apart from their position, but when you have 4 of them and they're playing on different teams, I know teams don't really make much difference in F2. It does, but it still does get confusing. It's sort of like, all right, who are we watching? What are we doing?
And then everybody else is in a blue car, so.
Oh yeah, and everyone's in blue.
yeah,
and even
there's
the
a lot
Red
of blue
Bulls.
cars. Even in Formula One, it's like if blue is a new white. There's no white cars this year, no predominantly white cars, and
Right.
then you just
All
got nothing
blue.
but blue cars.
Although sorry to go back to Formula 1, the Aston Martin looked black in the dark.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So I
isn't
was
that
like,
right?
I was really confused at points.
Yeah. To be
Anyway,
honest, the AlphaTauris, the Mercedes, and the Aston Martins all look the same.
Yeah.
On a dark track. Hopefully, on the light tracks, it'll be better.
Anyway,
But yeah, should we
I've
move on
had
to
my
race?
bone.
Should we move on to race 2? Unless there's
Yes.
anything else you want to talk about race 1.
No, that was all, I think. Race 2. All right. Lots happened in race 2, so I've just missed most of it. But Vips was on pole with Zandelli and Ticktum second and third. While Vips and Zandelli got away well, Ticktum had Schwartzman crash into him, which Ticktum said was lovely. But what was really lovely was seeing the new Aston Martin safety car. After the restart, Joe overtook Zandelli and Vips for the lead. Zandelli's race didn't get better as just behind him, Lundgaard barged past Piastri before hitting the back of Zandelli, giving Zandelli a puncture and Lundgaard a 10-second penalty. Top 5 were now Joe, Vips, Lawson, Drugovic and Lundgaard, but then Drugovic barged past Lawson and Lundgaard took advantage of the whole situation, overtaking them both. The drama then continued as Drugovic crashed into Lawson. Drugovic got a 10-second penalty and the safety car was back out. Vips, Lundgaard and Piastri all pitted under the safety car, with Lundgaard taking his penalty, although literally no one saw it. Joe, Drugovic and Armstrong were now the top 3, but the restart was classic F2 overtaking chaos, and Vips had a car problem, which all left Joe, Piastri and Lundgaard fighting for victory. They drove around 3 wide until the race ended with Piastri first, Lundgaard second and Joe third, except even the FAA didn't see Lundgaard take his penalty and so put de Ruyveler on the podium instead, until hours later when they reinstated Lundgaard's second place.
So no one saw this penalty. So how did they must have proved it somehow?
Yeah,
It was on
would
their
have-
onboard camera, so when you could watch back the onboard camera that Lundgaard had, and you can see him in the pits waiting for 10 seconds, and I guess they showed that to the FIA.
Yeah, because I was really confused with that because it just seemed really odd because I was at the time. I look out for Lundgaard anyway because I like him as a driver, and I knew you'd be on as well, so I knew you'd be looking out for him. But I remember thinking that he was up there, and he was up there with who was he up behind? But he was up there like in the top 3, and whoever was directly ahead of him was about 8 places ahead of him after the pit stops, and I thought,
I think
he
it was
must have.
Piastri.
Yeah, I was like, he must have taken his penalty then. He must have taken it in the pits, which I thought you had to do anyway if you had the choice. But I thought maybe the rules might be different for F2, so I just kind of skirted over that. And then when they said after the race that he hadn't taken his penalty, I was like, well, why was he so far back then? Because I was convinced that he had. And then, I didn't find out until the next day that he'd actually been reinstated. So that's good.
And
I was
also,
glad.
I think heartbreak moment of the season, watching them tell him when he's standing there at his podium place, like getting ready, and then someone goes to tell him he's not there, and it's just so sad.
Why didn't you say then? But I took it.
Yeah, I guess he did, but they, you know, you're not going to stand there and have an argument. That's why he looked so confused. You could tell he was having a discussion about it.
Yeah, I just thought they hadn't told him. I
Yeah,
thought they just didn't tell him so he can go and fight for the win and then argue it in the stewards afterwards or something. No, I mean, so yeah, again, on Vips, is he the new Johnny Herbert? So much bad luck.
yeah, probably. I think it's time. He needs to really do something impressive this year because, like you said, he sort of missed his chance. You know, everyone always talks about momentum in motor racing, and he might have lost it if he doesn't.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah. So with Lundgaard, then, do you want to wax lyrical about Lundgaard for a bit?
Oh my god, he was so good, wasn't he? Like
He
it was
was.
like the whole race was so much good Lingard drama. Like
He almost won.
Yeah, he almost won. He overtook everyone. He came second, even though he had a 10-second penalty. He was double overtaking everyone. He was crashing into people. Like he was the whole race.
No, he did good. I knew you'd be happy with that. I mean, Pourchaire coming through the field was quite impressive as well. And I find, like, with what I love about F2 is the differing strategies when you get the whole when you're having these pit stops and you've got people, someone soft and someone hard and someone fresh and someone old rubber. I think it just energizes the whole race. That's why I always found the sprint races a little bit dull. But with this new system here, people are trying alternate strategies, and I know it's probably a bit different with the asphalt in Bahrain because it's so abrasive. Yeah, it's just very abrasive tarmac because it has to be because of the sand.
Yeah, they do usually pit stop during the sprint race in Bahrain anyway. So manage your expectations, but I'm sure it's still going to be really good next time round.
But yeah, and so I just like, and you get that when you have the alternate strategy runners as well. The only thing I don't like about it is when you have the alternate strategy runners, they just luck out of a safety car and then they end up like just losing all that or gaining all that time up, and then it just seems a little bit unfair sometimes when you have the driver who dominates the race from start to finish and then just gets passed with 3 laps to go by someone who just lucked out of a safety car. But
that should be part of your strategy, right? Because if you know it's high with a chance of a safety car, then you need to consider that when you're doing your tyre strategy.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Cool, let's do the third race then.
Third race. All right. Joe was on pole, Lundgaard second, and Drugovich third. Lundgaard and Drugovich both got past Joe at the start, but then there was a safety car because Schwartzman crashed into Nissany, who then ran into Deleda. After the restart, everyone overtook each other, and Drugovich was in the lead, Lundgaard second and Piastri third. Lundgaard and Drugovich pitted, but then Piastri lucked out with his pit stop as Petkov's fire extinguisher went off, causing a VSC just as Piastri exited the pits, meaning Drugovich and Lundgaard couldn't overtake him. Even more lucky with the pit stop timings was Armstrong, who was somehow now in the lead of the race as a full safety car was called. There was so much overtaking with the safety car restart and hundreds of penalties for safety car infringements, it was basically impossible to keep track of what was happening. However, Joe made his different tyre strategy work and overtook everyone for the lead, while Piastri and Ticktum refused to give each other any space and crashed into each other, resulting in Piastri spinning and Ticktum hanging on the third behind Vasseur. In the last couple of laps, Vasseur was struggling as Ticktum and Lawson both got past him. Despite his best efforts, Ticktum was unable to get past Joe, and Joe won his first full-length F2 feature race with Ticktum second and Lawson third.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ticktum second. A fair play after the crash.
Yeah.
But seriously, what is wrong with the fire extinguisher?
I know, the fire extinguishers. It's like the third one in 2 years now.
Yeah. I remember Mick Schumacher's one last year.
Yeah. And it happened to somebody else last year as well.
Yeah.
But
the thing with the fire extinguisher is, like, if it goes off, then you have to retire because you can't drive without a fire extinguisher.
But it just seems completely. What's going on with them?
It feels a bit like one of those Bernie Ecclestone, like, randomized. What should we do to random out the race?
At some point, somebody will press a red button and somebody's fire extinguisher will go off.
Exactly, and it did cause a lot of drama in the race. So
I think, to be fair, like with Schumacher's one last year, I think it was debris hit it and caused a failure. But
what was the reason for this one? Do we know?
I've not heard anything.
I'm sorry, I didn't look into the details of the reason for the fire extinguisher.
You had 3 races to review. I think we can forgive you.
So the one the car that was out the most was the safety car. By the sounds of it, you know, that seems.
I wasn't. They were quite quick with the safety cars. They're like, but who
it's an Aston Martin. It's going to be quicker than the rubbish Mercs.
Was it Martin Brundle or someone said that they were expecting to see a lot more safety cars now because they've got the Aston Martin and the Mercedes, so they've got to get that like sponsorship out.
Yeah.
I think.
But also, what was it? Bette Myler to turn around who drives the
Yeah.
Aston and goes, "I feel like James Bond now."
Yeah.
Did look nice though.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was quoted as saying the name's Burn Mylander. I was like, no, that's the wrong way around. It doesn't work.
The name's James. James Bond. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I get where he was coming from, but still. Right. Okay. So there's a lot of choice there with three races to pick from. But who do we reckon for driver of the day for the 3 races?
Obviously,
Lundgaard, surely.
Obviously, Lundgaard.
Yeah, surely Lundgaard. I mean, why are we even bothering with this discussion? Laura will pick Lundgaard even if he smashes into Tictum and does a hokey cokey with someone.
I'm sorry, but can you give me a reason why he shouldn't be driver of the day?
It's a fair point. I mean,
that is a good point.
Joe wasn't consistent enough, I don't think. And I say on Joe, it's like this is his 3rd year in Formula 2. It's his
But he was really good.
But it's like
he's leading the
should be
championship
better.
now.
Yeah, well, we'll get on to the standings. He is leading the championship, but it's for me, it's like it's his 3rd season in Formula 2. He should be winning everything. He just didn't. He's only won. It's a 2nd race he's won in F2. I know he's had some bad luck, but I just think I
He
can't.
should have won more. But I think saying that the person that's leading the championship didn't do a good enough job is pretty poor logic. To be honest.
Well, okay, don't pull any punches. That's fine. But no, I just think like in general, like not more of like a commentary on him as a driver rather than this weekend. I just think I think he should have shown more last season than he did. He just didn't seem ever in the title fight, so he needs a big season this year.
I think if he beats Drugovic, he'll really prove himself, because Drugovic is obviously like a really, really amazing, surprisingly talented driver that no one expected, and everyone's expecting big things from him. So if he comes out on top of him, it'll be like he's a good benchmark.
Have you got any suggestions for driver today away from Lundgaard, Carl?
No, Lundgaard, by the sounds of it. Obviously, I only saw the first race, but Lundgaard. Who else?
I mean, Piastri was also really good, right?
Yeah, Piastri did well. I would have loved to have given it to Vips because I like Vips, but he just again some bad luck in there. And
then Lawson was on the podium twice. His first FT weekend.
Yeah, I think it definitely deserves a mention. And Lawson probably, given that it's his first season as well.
Yeah, actually, Lawson was quite good, but I would.
I think I'll go with Lundgaard though. So he's going to get it.
He's going to get it. I don't think there's anyone who can't.
And also, I just feel sorry because last time you came on, you really wanted a Lundgaard race, and he was just nowhere in both races. So.
Yeah, I know. I was really happy this time. I was like, it was good, but the feature race was disappointing for me. So
yeah. Right. So, Dick of the day. Who have we got for Dick of the day? I can't really. Well, no, Vips didn't do anything wrong really. Fire extinguishers.
Right, no, the FIA for their
FIA for not knowing
messing up someone took a penalty. Come on.
Yeah,
that is a bit bad. That's very bad.
And changing the podium. You know how they always say we want to have the proper drivers on the podium at the end of the race. We don't want to have things decided in the stewards room afterwards. The proper drivers were actually there on the podium, and the FIA are like, no, come away. We're just gonna. It was it's a joke.
Cool. So we're gonna go
FIA.
Are we going to go for stewarding?
No,
because it's stewarding, isn't it? It's
FIA and stewarding.
Because what was it? The Dick of the day we had for the Saudi Arabian E-Prix was stewarding.
Yeah,
stewarding. Are we really going to go for stewarding 2 in a row?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be I'm going to be.
I'm with you.
I was going to say fire extinguishers, but I'm going to be voted off. Oh.
No, stewarding.
Those poor stewards. They do such a great job.
Well, they couldn't.
Yeah, but it's not. Sorry, the people. It's not the stewards. It's not the
stewarding,
volunteers.
though. It's the stewards.
It's not
of the
volunteers.
Yeah.
It's not them. It's the management of the volunteers or the management of the paid people. It's the management of the fund.
Yeah.
Stewards.
Right. So, are we going? We need to nominate a driver of the weekend and a dick of the weekend. So that includes Formula One as well.
Oh, driver of the weekend completely.
So it could be Hamilton or Lundgaard, or it could be Vettel or stewarding, or it could be something completely different if there's something else that we think trumps all of that.
I'm trying to think.
Who did better? Who did better of Hamilton and Lundgaard? I think
Lundgaard probably.
Yeah,
He
I think
did
it
a
probably
lot
would
more
be.
stuff.
He did a lot more to get to the point, apart from just
He
holding
performed
back.
well.
a
He
pro
performed
card.
well in 3 races.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll go with that.
Lingard. And the dick of the day.
I think just stick with Vettel.
Yeah, he hasn't really got much leg to stand on, has he? Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, why not?
great. He's in. He's done. At least it means we don't actually have like the overall dick of the day with stewarding, because that's.
I mean, it probably should be the stewarding because of track limits, but I'll let you go with Vettel.
Oh yeah, you do make a good point. Oh, that's frustrating. That's a good point. Overall, you're probably right. Yeah. All right, we'll go with stewarding then.
Oh,
Sorry, I feel like I'm ruining a spreadsheet.
No,
I
it's
imagine
fine.
you're filling this in a spreadsheet. I don't know.
yes, he is.
I actually
how's that
am.
vibe?
He
Yeah.
I
loves
actually
it.
am. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Right, so quick look at the standings then. So Zhou, obviously with 3 races in now. So Zhou with 41 points leads. Lawson second with 30. Daruvula 28. Piastri 21. Ticktum 19. Verschoor 18. Lundgaard 16. Schwartzman 16. Beckman 12 and Armstrong 10. People scored all the way down to 15th place already. Ticktum and Schwartzman, are they out of the championship already, or is it a bit too early to say that?
I think it's far too early to say that anyone is out.
Yeah.
Surely.
Surely, yeah.
I think because they looked so strong in testing, but they just
They had one bad race. Well, 3 bad races.
that's the thing. It's 3 bad races, but
I don't
Yeah.
know. Don't count them out.
no, I hope not. I hope they, because I say Ticktum was looking good, and so was Schwartzman, and Armstrong obviously looking good as well. So yeah, I hope they do come good.
Yeah.
I hope they
Armstrong.
do.
I don't see what everyone sees in
Sorry,
him.
not Armstrong. I meant to say Lundgaard,
Oh,
not
okay.
Armstrong.
Oh, fine.
No, Armstrong was
I won't
nowhere.
go down
again.
that rant then.
No. But please do have a rant about Armstrong, because I think he looked good in F3, but it's never really shown it in F2.
I haven't. Yeah, I can't even remember.
Armstrong who?
Ferrari
He's
Junior.
a Ferrari Junior, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
That-
know. I haven't.
like-
So was Giuliano Alesi, though, to be fair, and he's gone now.
Oh.
Oh, another nepotistic child.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly.
what a
There's
shame.
reasons, isn't there?
Cool. Right. On that note, shall we all go away?
Is there anything else you want to discuss?
Extremely next week. Lots of people. Oh, Formula E double Rome.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Sorry, what I think about it. There is now 2 back-to-backs at Rome.
Yeah.
And so it's 2 races. So yeah.
Yeah, and in Valencia as well. I don't know if that was planned in before, but it's double header in Valencia as well.
Now, where is it? But definitely it's now in Rome, so that'd be
So we'll have-
interesting.
we'll have-
They're putting as many races of double headers as possible now due to the climate and COVID, etc.
Yeah. As long as there's not 6 in Berlin, I'm fine with that.
Oh yeah. So double headers are fine. So we'll see what happens. This time will be first in the race, light, but that's not for a little while anyway. That's not till the middle of April, or end of April even. But Extreme E starts this weekend. Happy Easter, everyone!
Yes, and thank you very much for coming on, Laura. We'll still be around on the live stream for a few minutes afterwards for the post show. Join us for the post show party
Which isn't
on
that
YouTube.
exciting.
It really isn't.
isn't
We're just talking about rubbish and
Crap.
stuff. Great. Okay, well, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Bye!
Bye.
There, we're gone.
Welcome to the post show.
It still says we're live. Oh yeah, because we are live.
Yeah, we
This
are live. It's only
really confuses me every time. This confuses me.
It's only the podcast that's finished.
I know. There we go. Yeah, well done, team.
Yeah.
Woo! I think I think it's been quite a good race weekend.
Yeah.
Where have we got next weekend? Is it literally just Extreme E? Is there anything else?
just
next weekend?
just extremely next week, and we're hoping to have
Which is now on
Ian,
ITV, which is
Yeah.
exciting.
We're hoping to have Ian Davis on as well.
Oh yeah.
I need to organise that because I said we would sort something out for next week. So, I think it's the following week he's on.
All right.
No, we said we'd try and get him on for.
We're going to do halfway through the week one.
Yeah, we're going to do a late week one, so we probably won't be back next Tuesday. It'll probably be towards the end of the week, and then we'll be back on normal again after that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We'll work that one out.
Has your wife Laura not been watching today?
Laura?
No, has your wife Laura?
Your wife.
Oh,
Not
my
my
wife,
wife.
Laura. I got really
she's-
confused there.
'cause
Has
the
your
last-
wife, Laura? I was like,
Yeah.
Laura's got a wife? Oh, fair. Has my wife, Laura? No, I don't think she has.
No,
Laura!
well, she's been very quiet on the comments if she has.
No.
She's not said
I
anything.
don't think she has.
No. Oh, that's a shame.
I don't know why. She said she would. Maybe I don't know if she knew if we were live or not because I said we had a guest on. So
Yeah.
she obviously thinks we're not live.
And thank you for coming on live as well, Laura.
yeah.
Not your wife, not your wife, Laura.
You're welcome.
We're trying to do a few more of these, so it's good to actually get on with the guest as well. So
Well done for taking the risk. I didn't swear.
you didn't swear, Carl.
Yeah, I did.
Carl
I made
did
up
a
for you.
lot. Carl did a lot.
I wonder how many swear words I did.
Yeah, we'll look back over that. So, do you want to
yeah.
do a bit of a plug for your website while we're here? I meant to do it in the podcast, but I completely
Oh
forgot.
yeah.
It's fine. Yes, my website is inthegraveltrap.com and I'm on social media at Trapped in Gravel, and I basically just draw things like this and post
Pretty
them.
pictures.
So
Which one's that from? Is that
Bahrain.
from this weekend? Yeah.
This is Bahrain. This is this week's. Yeah.
Is that the F1 or the F2?
The F1.
Ah, cool.
I'll show you again so you can see.
Excellent.
This is all the Mars have been crashing.
I mean,
So,
yeah.
yes, and I also do some writing on there as well. I write all the F2 races, but I post later in the week because there's no informative or intelligent things. So I let people have time to read actual news and then
Yeah.
read mine later.
That's the thing. We're like, yeah, we're not going to try and do news anymore because it's not. We're
If
not.
people
news.
tune into a
People have
podcast
watched
to get news, then there's something wrong because news is so instant now. There's no point doing it on a podcast.
But then, Tom, if
so-
people are tuning in to listen to our opinions, something's quite wrong.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
Right. I'll put a link to your socials and your website in the show notes, and I'll probably nick that picture. Is that up on your Twitter?
It is indeed, yeah.
Yeah,
Go for it.
I'll probably nick it off your Twitter and put it as the episode thumbnail. So yeah.
there we go.
Thank you.
Have you had any more contact from any of the drivers? Because no, you said you had
Oh,
some.
I actually got some live coaching from Richard Bashaw over the winter.
Life coaching.
That's when I realised that my life had gone. No offense to Richard Bashaw, like he was very good. He gave me some great advice, but he is like, I don't know how old he is. Feels like he's probably about 18 or something. And when you're getting life advice from like a teenage boy, doesn't feel like your life's in the right place. But
Oh,
I
wow.
appreciate it.
Excellent.
Richard Bashaw. I'm going to find out how old he is now.
No, he must be like 20 or something, right?
He's 22. He was born in
Oh, okay.
2000.
Fine.
He was born on the 16th of December 2000.
So he's the same age as Max Verstappen. Oh, Verstappen's 23 now, isn't he?
God,
Oh,
these
wow.
people were born in 2000.
I know.
What is wrong with these people? Yeah,
They were born. It's not really their fault.
but like,
But
They
yeah,
didn't really
so
have a
if you
hand
I
in
feel
that.
old.
if you want some life advice, you know where to go.
Cool. I might actually tweet for
Richard
sure then.
Bashaw.
Just be
And
like,
say, please, can we have some life
can I
advice?
have some live lessons? Can we broadcast
I
it
bet-
live on the podcast?
I bet
I
he
was thinking
charges.
about compiling it all and like making it into like a post, but I didn't get around to it. So
Yeah.
Oh, you should have. Should have like.
I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy. I didn't follow his advice. I didn't have enough motivation to do it.
Oh, I see one of these like. Oh yeah, get motivated. Like
I mean,
people.
he's a sportsman, right? They're not. He's got to have a different level of motivation to me.
Yeah, they've got to be fairly motivated, haven't they? Surely.
Well, I get that they're motivated, but like, oh, there's some people that just sit there, just like, what are you? Like, I'd listened to lots of random audiobooks and quite businessy ones, and there's one that called Tribe of Mentors, and it was literally just all about how I should be on a ketosis diet because that's going to make my brain better. I'm like, what? I don't even understand how starving yourself makes you brain. This just hurts me. I get angry when I don't eat, so I don't think it's a very clever idea.
I like
Like-
that that's making you angry, but you're still quite happy to be in touch with like a happiness ambassador or whatever
Yeah.
how it was.
Oh yeah. Director of optimism or something.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's Ricardo.
I can't believe you didn't tell me about that.
I forgot. I've been meaning to tell you about that one.
Right. I'm going to end the live stream now so we can talk about our potential sponsor.
Oh yeah. Bye.
Right. Bye, live
Again.
stream people. Bye bye.
Bye.
I think we're still live.
You're still live.